بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. صلى الله على نبيه المصطفى ونبيه المجتبى وعلى آله الطيبين وأصحابه أجمعين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات كانت لهم جنات الفردوس نزلا خالدين فيها لا يبغون عنها حولا. قل لو كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي لنفد البحر قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي ولو جئنا بمثله مددا. وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام: إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله ومن كان هجرته إلى دنيا يصيبها أو امرأة يتزوجها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. Alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed us in many different ways. It's a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has gathered us here, and a great gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has bestowed upon us Iman, kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. It's definitely a great gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent us into this dunya for a purpose. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that I have created the jinnat and insan, the jinn and the men, to worship me. This worship, the scholars have translated it as recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we recognize our Creator, we recognize the one who sustains us. So this is our purpose in life, that we worship and recognize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but not according to any way that we wish, but according to the teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because so many other faiths, they follow God as well. But if we follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala according to the way shown to us by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is the most correct path. It's the only path. And it's the only path that will, inshallah, lead us towards Jannah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to this dunya, to this world, as a guide for the whole of humanity. His way of life is exemplary, the most beautiful way of life in any aspect that we look at, whether it was his personal life, whether it was his social life, whether it was his business life. In any way, it was the perfect way of life that we should all to the best of our ability, try and follow. If we follow this lifestyle, then not only success in a hereafter, but success in this world as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant us success in both lives, which is the most important thing. The dua in the Quran, رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً. This is what we should ask Allah. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taught us how to make dua to Him as well. Amazing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us how to make dua to Him. O Allah, O my Rabb, grant us the best in this dunya and grant us the best in the akhirah. So the lifestyle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will help us in this dunya and help us in the akhirah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made such effort that the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they learned from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So much so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had given them a status that He mentioned in the Quran, رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ, that Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Allah. How a group of people can achieve such a status that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes pleased with them. And this is what Allah mentions. We have to look into their lives. How did they achieve this status? How did they get this status? The Sahaba radiallahu anhum were very simple people. But with their simplicity, they were also very united. There was a strong brotherhood, the togetherness. And we see that if we put this unity in any field, we will see success, some way or another. We see that if a business has teamwork, then they flourish, the business will flourish. We see that if a football team, plays a team, and there's a lot of teamwork, then they flourish. And we see that, in our own city, the football team, who were successful last season, they played as a team, and they were successful in their way. And we look at any other aspect, any other field, where it's a family, they stay united, then they will be successful as a family. So the importance of unity, is agreed by one and all. That is it's a very important factor in our lives. And this is what we see in the lives of Sahaba radiallahu anhu. Because they were very united in everything that they did. They loved for their brothers what they loved for themselves. And if we follow them, then we will flourish and we will be successful as well. Because Rasulullah has mentioned that Ashabi kan nujum in iqtadaytum ihtadaytum, that my Sahaba are like guiding stars. That whomsoever you follow, you will be successful. The stars back in the days, maybe even today, are used as a guide. So for those traveling on the sea, they would use the stars as a guide to get towards their destination. And even today, there's a certain way that if we follow the stars, then we can point towards Makkah, towards the Kaaba. So this is the example that Rasulullah gave, that the Sahaba are like stars, like guiding stars, that whomsoever you follow, you will be rightly guided. And then he mentions that خَيْرُ أُمَّتِي قَرْنِي ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ, that the best of times is my time. And then the people that come after that, and then the people that come after that. The time of Rasulullah, which is the Sahaba's time, was the best time. So we have to follow and emulate as much as we can from the Sahaba radiallahu anhu. The unity and the brotherhood between them is amazing. If we ponder and look into their lives, how the Sahaba formed this brotherhood, how Rasulullah formed this brotherhood. You see examples from the beginning stages of Islam, when Rasulullah was instructed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because the Muslims were persecuted in Makkah, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed Rasulullah to migrate towards Medina. And then the Muslims followed Rasulullah towards Medina. And when they left Makkah, they left everything behind. Whatever they had, anything they possessed in terms of wealth, they left it behind in Makkah. And a lot of them even left their families behind. And they migrated towards Medina. They were known as the Muhajirin, the ones who had migrated towards Medina. And the Ansar, who were the people of Medina, which would be termed as the helpers, they welcomed the Muhajirin to them. And the Arabs, as you know, are very welcoming people. So they understood that these are our brothers from a different part of the country, and they've come with nothing. And Rasulullah formed this brotherhood, that one brother from the Ansar and one brother from the Muhajirin, there will be a special brotherhood between them. So the Ansar understood this brotherhood, and they said to their brother from the Muhajirin that whatever we own, half of it, you can take. So from all our wealth, all our land, and all our cattle, and all our horses and cattle and camels, anything that we own, half of it is yours. From our wives, whichever you wish to marry, we will divorce them, and you can take them into your nikah. This was the understanding and the relationship between them. The Muhajirin, they did not want to be a burden. So they said, instead of what you propose, we propose that, whatever you own, you keep it. But we will work for you on your land. And whatever we earn, we will give half to you and we will keep the rest. So this was the agreement that they came up with. So we see that the understanding and the togetherness, this is what made them flourish in deen and in dunya as well. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed them so much and loved these acts. We see that in one of the battles, a Sahabi is, he's very badly wounded, and he's in the last throes of death, and he's about to leave this world. And someone comes around with water and offers him water. And the Sahabi who is in the throes of death, he sees another Sahabi who is worse than him, and says to the person that goes towards him, he's more in need. So this person runs towards the second person, and the second person points towards another person that go to him, he's more in need. And the third person points towards the first person. So the person with the water goes around to the first person, he has already passed. And then he runs to the second person, he has already passed. And the third person, and he has already passed. So all of them, they left their right and wanted the brother who was more in need. And in the end, none of them got to drink the water. So this was how much they valued the Muslim brotherhood between them. And we see that if we bring this into our lives, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless us. Because Rasulullah has mentioned that the downfall of the people of the past was their greed and the enmity and the hatred.